Hey everybody, welcome to another Purple Insider Extra. Matthew Collar here outside of TCO Performance Center as we continue to lead up to Minnesota Vikings training camp and preview position by position. If you missed our quarterback and running back previews, make sure you go check those out. But let's talk wide receivers. All right, so Justin Jefferson has talked this offseason about how excited he is to play the Cooper Kupp role. Well, Justin Jefferson's been pretty good in his own role over the last couple of seasons. He's got more receiving yards in his first 2 years than any other receiver over the last 2 seasons in the entire NFL. So how much will Kevin O'Connell want to change that? We'll get our first sneak peek at that during training camp. Is he going to be lining up in the slot more? Is he going to be running more underneath passes in a more wide open passing offense? Or will we see the same old Justin Jefferson going deep down the field? It is hard to mess that up if you're Kevin O'Connell, but we will be looking close for the details on whether his role appears to have changed. Adam Thielen coming back too. The Vikings had a chance to move on from him this offseason if they wanted to undergo some sort of rebuild. They decided no, they want this duo back with Jefferson and Thielen. It's really Thielen's health that we'll keep an eye on as he gets into his 30s. And I know it doesn't feel like Adam Thielen is that old at this point, but he has had some injuries in recent years. His health will be important. And also how the Vikings handle the workloads during training camp of these older players. In the past, Mike Zimmer liked to work them as hard as he was allowed to do per NFL rules. But it seems from what we saw in minicamp and OTAs that could be different for the Vikings in how they deal with their sports science and how often they give veteran players a break. We'll be keeping an eye on that as well. But it's really behind Jefferson and Thielen where things get very interesting for the Vikings wide receivers. KJ Osborne last year emerged as the number 3 wide receiver, a playmaker. If you go back to the game against Carolina, catches the game-winning walk-off touchdown in that game, had other big plays as well throughout the season. When he was asked to step into the wide receiver 2 role, it was a bit of a different story for Osborne as he goes into his 3rd year. Signs of progress from even where he emerged last year, as now he is essentially a veteran wide receiver in his 3rd year in the NFL, but all of these guys adjusting to a new offense, which does open the door potentially for other wide receivers. One of those being B.C. Johnson. Last year, B.C. Johnson tore his ACL early in training camp, did not get an opportunity to be that guy that could step in, and that's where KJ Osborne was able to emerge. But B.C. Johnson is back and was getting lots of opportunity during minicamp, so he's going to be competing for a spot. The guy behind him, though, has more big play ability than B.C. Johnson, and that is Amari SmithMarsette. Last season, Amari SmithMarsette spent most of the year on the bench, but got in at the end of the season when Adam Thielen was hurt and flashed some big play ability. Taking that next step, could he be the next wide receiver that's drafted late by the Vikings who starts to emerge as an important playmaker for him? He's got the talent to do so. Last year, they talked about him being a little behind on the offense and the route details, but now he's had an entire year to prepare. So he is battling really for a chance to get more opportunity to maybe even be wide receiver 3 or 4. But this offense also allows more opportunity for wide receivers in general. If you look where Kevin O'Connell came from, the Los Angeles Rams, they had a bevy of wide receivers who were getting in the game all the time, all the way down from your Cooper Kupp to Robert Woods to Odell Beckham to Van Jefferson. They were running tons of wide receivers. The Vikings are going to have an opportunity to do the same. And the sleeper player to watch this year in training camp is Jalen Nailor, the guy they drafted in the 6th round out of Michigan State, caught a ton of touchdowns, a big play threat. And I'll even throw one more deep sleeper at you. Dan Chisna has been a special teams player for the Vikings for the last few years. You will not find anybody faster than Dan Chisna. He did get a few reps last year as a wide receiver. If he develops a little bit more, maybe there's some sort of freaky deep threat there with Dan Chisna, but that is a deep sleeper indeed. But maybe he could get more opportunity to battle for an actual wide receiver position this year. All right, we're doing all the positions here leading up to training camp, and we will be out here with Purple Insider at TCO Performance Center every day. Listen to the Purple Insider podcast wherever you get your pods. Go to purpleinsider.com to check out our written work and sign up for the newsletter there. Thanks, everybody.